What's up, everybody? This is Matt Mandu from Headwaters Adventure, and I'm here with the Wild West Bass Trail and the CA Bass Nation winner, David Brofka.
How's it going, guys?
How you doing, man?
Good. Glad to be here.
So I heard it was a really tough day from everybody who was fishing it. You had the same experience?
Yeah. I mean, I just caught. There was no calling for me. And, my last one, it was a grind till the end. My last one in the afternoon. So it was tough. It was really tough.
That has you
I know a lot of people are
catching
like that. So there was a lot of short fish being caught.
Yeah, it makes it frustrating when it comes down to the wire like that, when you're waiting on your last fish, like, come on, I need one more.
Yeah, expect it. Bullards has that name for world record spots, so you kind of thinking you're going to go out and catch a bunch of tanks, but it's actually that lake's notorious for fishing tough. I mean, it's going to be 12 inches or, like this 20 and a quarter inch that I caught. James Croco caught a 22 in practice.
I know. So, he called me right after he caught it. He was like, dude, I had to tell somebody. He's like, I caught this fish. And he sent me a picture, and that thing was a pig. I mean, he's a big guy, and that thing still looked big under his hands.
Yeah.
So what did you catch most of your fish on?
Every fish I submitted was on a jig.
Awesome.
Half-ounce little green pumpkin, and I was switching between green pumpkin and peanut butter and jig. That's all I threw.
What trailer do you throw?
I didn't put the rod down all day. What's that?
That's awesome. What trailer did you throw on your jig?
A little Yamamoto, little tail grub.
Okay.
Just keep
that for winter.
Simple, nothing fancy. Yeah. I mean, don't get all fancy with my trailers. That's fine.
Did you find the fish in certain areas?
Practice, I covered a lot of water, probably 4 or 5 miles, and I wasn't catching anything until I came across this one long point. It's kind of when you're heading towards upriver, and they're really, really long point out of the water, and I didn't catch a fish all day until I got there. I caught 2 small fish. The rest of the day, didn't really catch much else, so that's where I went, and it's all there except for my last fish. I was eyeing this little like red cross all day. It was just, I don't know, it was just shining at me all day. And at like 2:30, anything I need to get to the last fish, I went over there, cast it at one time. 2 more casts later, I landed the 5th fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And were you fishing?
It was really combined area. What's that?
Were you fishing as deep as everybody else? Everybody that I talked to was seeming to throw bait fish profile stuff and fishing very deep, or at least 30 to almost 80 feet.
Right around 30 feet, 20 to 30 were all my fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't really go out.
That's awesome. And, I love a jig. So throw a jig, you catch bigger fish, right? That's how you win tournaments.
And you can't be mad when you're catching on a jig. And in prep, people throw little kayaks and little swim baits and stuff like that. I tried in practice. I threw it, did the jig. So, I mean, I was happy with that.
Were they pretty distinguishable bites, or was it really soft, or was it mushy?
It was really soft. So it wasn't until you pick it up and, so you hold it there for a second or two, and then you finally feel the thump. So, yeah, they weren't.
Yeah, but the water was pretty cold up there still, right?
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, the fish that were coming up were actually, it was they were cold really deep for sure. Okay.
Yeah. For that kind of pattern, the small swim baits and the jigs is the normal thing, and jig went out. If I had one thing to throw.
It's a big jig, but it was just a small little Kitech,
Was it the Kitech jig?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat those. Those things are absolutely killer.
It's like that's That's like the number one thing to throw.
Have you seen the new Kitech? I guess they're not new, but they have it looks like a hula grub. I think they call it a little spider or something like that. But they have it in,
Yeah.
I think, a 2.5 and a 3-inch. And I've been told over at Shasta that's a really killer bait because it's, again, kind of downsizing, but you can still put a 1/2 ounce head in it.
Yeah, I've seen the Kitech jig rig. It looks really good. It's a
Yeah.
little more fancy than like just the simple Yamamoto thing. Has a little more appendage. Now
It's so much smaller.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made it for that jig. It's
Specifically,
yeah.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah, that'd be fun to go through.
I appreciate the insight, and I know anybody else does. I know we got a few people watching. Does anybody have questions for the winner?
Yeah.
I've never fished Bullards.
It was my first time there. I've never been there
Okay.
before, and I just wanted to see water, so I was determined just to hop and gun it like all day. Just fish and run, and thank God it was about an hour away from the ramp, so I wasn't fishing until 8:20. Yeah.
Okay, so that was off launch. You went for a straight hour?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All the way out. There wasn't.
I can't do that.
Me actually, fun. Abel Patino was out there too, and it was me and him. He was on another point somewhere, and here for miles.
And then he took, what was it, second or third? I know it was him and Shane.
Yeah, I think he got second biggest fish, so he was right there.
Okay, nice. Well, that's awesome, man. Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I appreciate you giving us some insight. And yeah, I appreciate you being on. Next time I'll plan it a little better. We'll let people know, and I'm sure have a little bit more people and more curiosity. So just win the next one.
Yeah,
And, we'll have you back on here again.
So maybe we'll be there.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, it's good talking to you, and we'll see you soon.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. That was David. That was the winner of the Kayak Bass Nation and the Wild West Bass Trail over at Bullard's Bar. So, cool lake. I've never been there, but sounds like it was really, really tough, really cool. I do have a couple other things to talk about. We'll just say for James Croco. So he also fished the tournament there, and he said that the water temperature was between 45 and 48 degrees. He was fishing between 25 and 70 foot, and he was throwing all bait fish patterns. So his were on 2.8s to 4.3s, and he's doing them on a 3/8 under. What? Something happened. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. We lost connection for a second. But he was throwing 3/8 out underspin, something like the Pulse Lures or the Cool Baits, which are both smaller profile underspin heads, and both great little baits. I know this one, the Pulse one, has a really light wire hook and works great with those 2.8s. He did not finish as high on tournament day, but in the practice, he got a huge spotted bass. Big old football, and it was in the 6-pound class, and he got that on the underspin. So that was pretty cool. I know that's his PB, so congratulations on that, Croco. Then Daryl was out there too, and he was in the Wild West Bass Trail. He was fishing in 40 to 80 feet, so he's fishing a lot deeper. Again, the bait fish profile, he was doing something like the 3.8, and he was drop shotting them. And when you're drop shotting that deep, you're going to want to have a heavier weight, something 1/4 to a 1/2 ounce to get down to the depth you're fishing. James Robertson, he had a good day over at Oroville, and he had 30-plus fish all day, and he was catching them all on the Carolina rig, and that was for the Yakka Bass tournament. That was this last weekend. He said he had a limit in less than an hour. That Carolina rig, he really likes that 4-inch easy shiner. He said it was in Sexy Shad, but dragging that around, it's very, very natural. It's a thin bait fish profile. It doesn't move a lot of water. He came in 13th out of 120th, so congratulations on that, James Robertson. And if you guys are going to go fish Orville, I would do it right now if you just need to get a bite, because 30 fish in a day is not a bad way to go, especially when you got your first 5 keepers in the first hour. that gives you a little bit of hope. Finding big fish is a whole different ball game. His second day of fishing, he went over to Sly Creek Reservoir, which is another place I haven't been. It looked absolutely beautiful. And again, you can find all this stuff on the Headwaters Adventure Company kayak fishing team page. So if you check that out, you'll see James Croco's giant fish and some of the pretty areas these guys were fishing. But over there, they had a 40-degree water temperature and 20-foot visibility, which is incredibly clear and cold. And you'd think you'd have to be really, really finesse and really slow. But they caught some fish real quick. They were catching them on 3/4 ounce jig, so fishing them a little bit deeper with a Senko trailer. They were using the green pumpkin red flake, which again, a little bit, you can't see it right there, but with the light, a little bit translucent, a little bit of shine with the flake in there. You cut a piece of that off, kind of like a Ned rig, maybe a little bit longer, throw that on, and it's a really subtle action jig trailer, which again, for this time of year is really, really good. Or if you want a really bulky profile, hook it wacky rig. It's going to fall and it's going to wiggle on the way down and make that whole bait look a heck of a lot bigger. They also got a couple on floating flies and some on a Ned rig in a green pumpkin red flake. So they only got a handful of fish, but they got some really nice quality ones up there. One of my buddies, Brian, down in the Sacramento area, they won their club tournament down at Comanche with the first fish of the day being a 6 1/4 pounder, throwing a 4.3 Kitech on a jig head, swimming it down a little bit deeper, and then everything else was a jig. They were using a custom poured jig and the Kitech. Sorry, you can't go wrong with that Kitech. All right. You can't go wrong with that Kitech jig. Sorry, guys, it disconnected from our camera and went to the computer screen. So we're gonna go from here now. But they won with 19 pounds. They had a 6, a 4, a couple of 2s, and a 3-pounder. The fish over there are really healthy right now. The consistent size of your fish over at Comanche is between 2 and 3 pounds. They're all healthy and they're feeding pretty good. For the last bass thing I've got over at Whiskey Town, apparently it fished really well on Monday with people catching a decent amount of fish. And for Whiskey Town, if you catch 10 fish, it's a decent amount of fish. But the fun thing, talking to a few guys, is some were caught on top water, throwing something like the Chapo. So he only caught 3 on it, but one of them was a 6-pounder, and throwing a topwater, especially something that you're moving at a consistent pace this time of year, not a slow-moving topwater, it's awesome to get bit on that. But we had 75-degree weather. It was a nice springtime day, even though we're going to be getting snow, which is going to reset this next week. But, you know, that gave, if you were out on Monday and you got some good fishing, it was because of that nice warm weather rolling in. And those fish, they want to get up, they want to start feeding, they want to get ready to spawn. That's the next phase in bass biology. They want to get up there, they want to eat, and they want to lay eggs. So very, very soon, this is going to be the deal. And again, all your regular baits, go throw a wacky Senko when they get up shallow. You can't help but catch fish. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You know, swim bait's going to be consistent no matter where you go, what time of year it is. You can always catch fish, whether you go with something like that, a ball head and a 3.8, or you get on the 2.8s with the little guppy heads or the little underspins. Again, that will work day in, day out, any time of year. For our trout fishermen, the river is picking up. I was talking to a few of the guides and a few of the drift boaters out here, and they're catching quite a few trout now. In fact, they're running the river, you know, taking 2 runs. So they pull their boat out, go back to the top and do it again. They're catching them in a lot of caddis patterns and smaller flies. I got out there after work a couple times this week, and I was trying to play with a few things, but I got some on a caddis pattern, as well as I was throwing night crawlers one night, and I hooked into a couple fish. So there's multiple ways to do it. One of our customers, he came in and bought some gold little Cleos, and we saw some pictures of him on Facebook, and he caught some really nice trout out of the river as well. So they're just starting to feed. It's going to be that time of year when, again, you have these bugs hatching, and with the bugs hatching, it gets the fish riled up. The more food's in the water, the more food that they're eating, the more aggressive they're going to stay. And Definitely, if you could match the hatch, it's probably the best. So if you see caddis or mayflies coming off the water, that's something to throw. In their larval stage, they've got a few different varieties of when they're on the bottom, coming off the bottom, and on the top before they hatch. So go to the fly shop. They're a great resource because they tell you what flies are working currently. So go check that out if you're interested. You don't have to use a fly rod. I'm using a slip bobber with a couple split shots to a couple of flies. And as long as you have a rod with a nice parabolic bend, you can catch plenty of fish that way too. Again, the little Cleos and spinners also work well. And, you know, worst case scenario, night crawlers. You can't beat a night crawler sometimes. It does have to be barbless, but you can use bait. That's about it. We have started shipping kayaks. So if you're in the market for a kayak and you're a little bit out of the way and you like watching us, or if you found us on Facebook or YouTube, give us a call. We could do shipping now. We just got a full shipment of crescents in. We've got quite a few Hobies in stock. We've got Old Towns. We got Filfreys. We got Eddy Lines. We got paddle boards. Hey, come on in, check it out. If you can't come in and check it out, give us a call and we'll ship it out to you. So, and then the last but not least, we have a new addition to the shop. So another thing to tempt you to come on by and check us out. This is the new shop dog, and the soon-to-be star, Rufio. So say hi, and he will be in the shop for when you guys come in to see us. So until next time, stay fishing, my friends. And after we get over this little bit of cooler weather, we're going to start really messing up those bass. We got some frogs coming in from Jackal, the Kiara frogs and the Gavacho frogs, which are two really cool ones that I'm excited about. And we've got the Demiki stuff coming in. So the jig heads, the armor shads, and the vault blade bait. So if those are something you're interested in, if you like throwing a lipless, those are going to be new things in the shop, I believe at the end of this week, maybe at the beginning of next. But it's going to be like a lipless crankbait, something like throwing a rattle trap, except your 3/8 ounce is going to be about that big. So a couple inches, maybe 2.5 inches. So especially mimicking those small shad that are going to be in Shasta and some of the other lakes around here. And I know Whiskey Town, they always prefer a smaller bait generally, especially once the water gets clear. Those little baits, they're just metal and they're very thin. They'll cut through grass incredibly well. And it's just a smaller profile, different vibration, no rattles, and they just flat out get hammered. So come in, check those out. We got some new stuff coming, and we're going to stay doing these videos all through spring and summer and hopefully keep getting you more and more good information as the fishing gets better and more fun and topwater bite starts to happen. So till next time, stay fishing, my friends, and we will see you soon.